All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the Sunday Night Football quick hit video. We have the Packers headed into Seattle to take on the Seahawks, the first ever flex game of the season. So pretty cool. Should be a good game. A lot of playoff implications. There's $1 million up top, $250 to first. It's also the late night hammer to send somebody home with $1 million on FanDuel as well, because they do include that in their main slate. So should be an exciting game. I'm showing you the shell of what we have over here at SHIPIT Nation. It's called the Stone. It has everything broken down. We're going to go team by team. I want to do it that way since it's quick hit and talk through some of the best plays that we think are going to be on this team. We'll start with the Packers. As you can see, they are 2.5-point favorites, about a 4 touchdown implied total. 24.5, as you see there, which is 4 touchdowns. So, hey, there's going to be some touchdowns in this game. Jordan Love, he's the second highest priced on his team, 15-3 in the captain spot. I do like him. And the reason I like Jordan Love is you can pass on this Seattle team. I think they're very susceptible to the pass. And we got some guys that I'm going to target down there as well. So give me some Jordan Love. When you have Jordan Love in the captain spot, he can run it a little bit. But the thing about Jordan Love is he's going to spread it around. You see there's 6, 7 receivers that we have listed there. He also has Tucker Kraft. So he spreads the ball around, so he can certainly get there up in the captain spot at 15-3. Really like him in the captain. Really like him in the flex. Jordan Love, one of the top plays on the slate, in my opinion. Next up that we'll talk about would be Josh Jacobs. He is the highest priced player on this slate at 17-1. He's pricey, and he's going to be popular, I think. Even at 17-1, I do think he will come with some ownership just based on the fact that they do love to ground and pound. 100-yard bonus as well within his reach. The thing with Josh Jacobs, while I personally wouldn't be as high on him, would be he doesn't catch many passes. Not really involved in the passing game. If we knew he would, I would say he would be better, but let's just take a look real quick just to see kind of where he's been over the last several games. So he got 4 targets in week 13, 1 in week 12, 5 in week 11, 0 in week 14. That was last week against Detroit, and then their bye week was week 10, 3, 2, 5. So it's been up and down. He's topped out at 6 and had several zeros and a couple 1. So we can't really count on him to be involved in the pass game. But, hey, if you wanted to go there, don't think it would be the worst play. My 2 favorite pass catchers for Jordan Love would be Jaden Reed at 12,000, coming off a bagel last week. I don't even think he got any targets last week. Let me double check that. 1 target last week. No handoffs, no end arounds, no reverses, nothing like that. And Jaden is very dynamic with the ball in his hands. I think they got to find ways to get him the football. So, yeah, coming off 1 target, 0 catches last week. Only played 50% of the snaps as well, which was concerning. If we could get him in the 70s, I would say 65 to 75 is kind of where we would want it, playing out of the 3 receiver set. Everybody should be healthy for these Packers tonight. Romeo, Dubs coming back, Christian Watson's in, Wicks, Reed, you name it, they're in. So kind of dicey on their front, but Reed would be my favorite one. I think he's more of a home run hitter than Christian Watson. I know Christian Watson hit a bomb against the Lions last week, but I think Reed can go the distance more than Christian Watson. Obviously, we've seen the struggles that Watson has had with drops. And let's talk about Tucker Kraft. Really like Tucker Kraft over here. If you wanted to go tight end in the captain, I think it's fine. I would say I wouldn't do it in single entry to 3 max if you're getting up into the 10 range. I think it's certainly fine to have Tucker Kraft. We've seen what he has done all season long. I think back to the Rams game where he went off and had 2 touchdowns in that game. Seattle pretty bad against guarding the tight end on the season. Looks like they're bottom 10 against tight ends in receptions and yards. And let's look at touchdowns. Touchdowns are a little bit better. They don't give as many touchdowns, but receptions and yards, they're bottom 10, bottom third in the NFL as it relates to tight end. So I really like Tucker Kraft. And then let's talk about Brandon McManus and the Packers. I think McManus, obviously a fine play, done a really good job for them since he's been with the Packers. Would not put them in the captain spot. I think, was it last Sunday night where we saw the Chiefs kicker, I think, wound up banking one home to become optimal in the captain, if I'm not mistaken. Packers defense. Let's talk about Packers defense a little bit. I do like the Packers defense. I think this defensive line can get after this offensive line a little bit. So I don't think I would put them in the captain, but definitely in the flex. They're definitely in play for me. I really like the Packers defense tonight. A little bit better than McManus, where it's normally vice versa, especially this year. We've seen a lot of kickers being on the optimal flex spot. I think the Packers defense outscores McManus tonight. But just to recap, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft would be my top 3 Packers that I like. Packers defense over the kickers. Just trying to look at some of these value plays or these low-owned guys. I mean, it's tough. It's, Wicks didn't do much last week. With Dubs out, pretty much played every snap. I think he had 3 or 4 catches, but not for many yards. Bo Melton, Malik Heath, any of these backup running backs, it's just so tough to get to. I do not think they would be in my player pool. Just trying to look. I mean, Dubs would have to be out, which I think he's back. But yeah, I mean, it's really a tight player pool on that Packers team. Watson and Dubs, I think you could put in the pool and just see where you landed, but I don't think that they're going to ultimately be on the winner. Let's move over to the Seahawks, where it's not that often that not only implied to score 3.5 touchdowns, 22 points. They're dogs. I really like these Seahawks tonight. Geno Smith certainly in play. Kenneth Walker set to miss his second straight game, and we saw what Zach Charbonnet did last week. Just an absolute beast, running the ball, catching the ball. Offense actually, seemed a little bit better. Kenneth Walker is listed as doubtful right now, so we're doing this Sunday morning, so just make sure he is out. But Geno Smith certainly in play for me at the captain. Zach Charbonnet certainly in play for me at the captain, just based on what he can do with the ball in his hands. Let's see how many targets he got last week. Played 80% of the snaps, which was a bunch, and then he got 7 targets last week. So, I mean, that was his role with Kenneth Walker, where Kenneth Walker III was the third down back, catching passes, but he played 80%. And they're not going to trust Kenny McIntosh. Just looking at Kenneth Walker hadn't eclipsed 80% all season long. 76 is where he topped out. So Zach Charbonnet, great spot, coming off a great week last week. Really like him again tonight. And then my favorite captain is going to be Jackson Smith and Jigba. This guy, he's a target monster. He plays every snap. I think he played 97% of the snaps last week. He's kind of evolved into this wide receiver 1, in my opinion, taking over DK Metcalf. And with the setup on DraftKings where it's PPR, in my opinion, you're going to get more targets, more short yardage, low A-dot catches with JSN than you are DK. DK can certainly take the top off of it, can get big in the red zone. So certainly like that. But JSN at 8,800, 13-2 in the captain spot. Really like him in the captain spot. He's my number 1 overall captain tonight would be JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Talk about Tyler Lockett. I mean, I don't hate it at 4,000. He's kind of fallen behind. He's fallen behind pretty well in terms of targets, routes run, playing time, things like that. Got 1 target last week at 4,000 though. If you said, hey, Geno's going to be passing, Geno's going to be my captain. Geno's not really a runner, so let's put 2, maybe 3 pass catchers in there. I don't hate Tyler Lockett, but after JSN, Lockett, and then obviously Metcalf, once again, there's just not much not much value on this team, right? Noah Fant appears to be back. Let's just see one thing right here. Yeah, Fant played last week as well. Him and Barner, about a 60-40 split between those two. Barner, in my opinion, has a higher ceiling, more upside at $1,600. I don't hate Barner. Neither one of them, though, are legit threats, in my opinion. Actually, Pharaoh Brown had 2 targets last week. The AJ Barner's one. Noah Fant had 4 targets last week. But I definitely wouldn't play Pharaoh Brown. And I haven't built teams, and I would not want to play Fant or Barner unless it was like last piece in, and I just landed on 3,600 or landed on 2,000 in the flex. But I would prefer having Geno up in the captain spot if I was going to get to one of those two. Moving over to their kicker and defense, Jason Myers certainly found play. He's 5,200. They've done a good job of pricing those kickers right in that 5,000 to 5K range, on these shows. And the Seahawks defense, I don't love it. Like we always talk about on these shows, it just takes one, right, to pay off that tag. But they got a pretty ferocious D-line. Leonard Williams took one to the house, about 95 yards a couple weeks ago. So it's not the worst play. Packers have a pretty good offensive line. I think Jordan Love can do a good job of keeping it out of harm's way. But, if you wanted to get the Seahawks defense, once again, if last piece in, something like that, don't hate it. But I would not be prioritizing the Seahawks defense. And then once again, Myers, if you had to get there, don't mind this. So let's recap just overall top plays for me. JSN, due to price, due to matchup, due to role in the offense, 13-2. He would be my number one overall play. Number 2 for me would be Geno. Really like Geno tonight. Really like him on FanDuel in that game as a late night hammer, and then like him in the captain spot as well on DraftKings. He would be number 2 for me. Number 3 for me would be Jordan Love. Jordan Love, best play in my opinion for the Packers. And then I would kind of mix 4, 5, and 6. I would roll those all into one and take some shots on Charbonnet, who's going to be popular and rightfully so. Really good price on him for his role in the offense. So Charbonnet, Tucker Kraft. If I'm playing, I would say 10 plus teams. I would put Tucker Kraft in 1 or 2, and the captain wouldn't hate that. And then Jaden Reed would be my third favorite, or not my third favorite, but my the third in that trio of 4, 5, 6 in there in the captain spot. That'll do it for me, your boy Ham, on this Sunday, talking this Sunday night show. Hey, tell me who your favorite captain is in the comments below. Make sure you're hitting that like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. We'll be back next Sunday, to do it all over again. But for Ship It Nation, I'm Ham. See you at the top of the leaderboards. Let's ship it.